Alright, so this is probably the third time I've taken off this front fuel tank. Seems like this week, so I'm actually going to side with the YouTuber Minute Masters on this one. I'm kind of liking his hatch that he cut in the fuel bed. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, you can check if your fuel pump's going wonky and all the electrical and everything without having to pull this down. See, I replaced the pump, the old pump ski, and I got cocky and I thought, you know, I won't check to see if it's got power, but I hear it coming on. It's weird because I hear it coming on and priming, but it's still not getting any fuel. I deleted the rear tank. The rear tank's gone. And I closed up those lines. So yeah, I've got a brand spanking new fuel pump, new sender in there, sending unit. I did all the connections correctly with the harness. As far as I'm concerned, I did it correctly from my homework. But I don't want to. I've got some fuel in here, and I don't want to cut the tank, or I don't want to cut the bed without dropping it down a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the plywood, put some plywood down there. But I do have fuel. I don't want to create a fire or a gas bomb here. So I'm going to drop it down a little bit, give it some room, and then I'm going to cut into this bad boy. But you know the deal. 15 millimeter up here with the impact. And just zap it, zap or doodle it. Okay, so there's a strap there. There's the strap there. But yeah, there's a filler neck hose clamp on the other side. So don't forget that before you start lowering this thing. I'm doing this by myself, so I'm using the jack to assist. And I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew the rest of these and bring it on down. So this is a 15 millimeter. This one that screws in there. But this one is where did I? Here, this one. So yeah, it's a 14. So just get it on top of there. I'll have to get back to you because I need my other hand. But you just gotta bring this mother humper down. And you got access to all your stuff right here. Alright. And that's how you pretty much bring it down by yourself. See, the thing popped off right there. Now you gotta cover that so it'll get a gunk in there, sand in there. So I got it, the filler neck closed up. As you can see, I did all the connections last time. I've done it a few times, as you can see. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to turn the key on, get my multimeter and my test light, and I guess see what we got here, the values. I need to find a good ground, so I might have to jump a ground cable, like a long 12 or 14 gauge copper just wire, just any old copper wire, bring it over here from the negative terminal and hook up to ground, and then test these, see if we've got power, and then I will test it with the multimeter. I think the red is the black on this one, so the power wire, I believe, with this new harness I put in is the black one. I'd have to double check that. Let's see here. It's definitely a mess, guys. I've got the red, I've got the red and the purple. So hopefully something's not wrong there. And if it is, it's pretty epic. But the original wires, oops, they're actually all the way back here. If you can see them, I don't know if you can see the originals. The OGs. The triple OGs. So the triple OGs are over here. It looks like I've got, okay, and that might be what's going on. I might have it hooked up wrong. So, I just looked at someone's diagram. I don't know, you know, it's the internet, so online. But I've got the red. I redid this, so don't mind this, but yeah, this is red though. Red goes to the purple. So I could be wrong there. Purple might not be power, and that's why we're all scribble-jubed. So of course this pump didn't come with any sort of instructions. So yeah, I'll take this off, and we'll read the voltage that we're getting on the purple, because that looks like that's my power wire, and go from there. So I just hooked up the negative wire, squished it on the negative terminal, nothing to it. It's nice and long. And I'm going to run it that way for sure to get a solid, ground. Okay. On gray. Red, nothing. 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 Gray, I got something there. Key on. Gray. So the gray wire is the blue and yellow of the original. Huh. Fuel pump relay, 1991 Ford F-150. I already broke the tabs because they're welded on there after 36 years of awesomeness. Needle nose. Oh yeah. And there it is. That's all she wrote. Got our test light hooked up to the battery. Got nothing there. Got action there. Action there. Nothing there. I don't think we're supposed to have anything there. But action there. And action here. Okay. So that is our big yellow. Big yellow's got action with the key in the on position. And then the red wire has got action. Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's turn over this. Okay, so with the car off. Constant juice is on yellow. So our constant is yellow. And then red turns on. Yeah, that's big red. Big red turns on when we go the on position. And then I can't tell, the wires are so old, those other colors. But yeah. So yellow is constant, red is only when the car is turned on. So the problem I'm having is that the lines down by the fuel pump don't have any power. The red wire has no power when I turn it on, and I don't think there's no constant, so the relay is clicking, but I'm not getting any power down there, so we're gonna rule out the relay and maybe even test that and see what happens. Alright, so 91 Ford F-150. I'm supposed to have juice at either this one or this one, according to my diagram here. But I don't have any juice there. And I want juice. on this one. The diagram says coming out of here, this goes to the inertia switch. And then from the inertia switch, that goes to our switch. So our fuel tank selector switch. But let's see, sorry. Let's see, so when I apply ground to this, we get it to work. The relay comes on, and that's at the blue and yellow. So let's go look at that on the diagram, see where that goes. So the relay is working, it's clicking on. I'm gonna do another test. I'm gonna jumper it and see if we get, I'm gonna jumper a ground in here and see if we get power at our selector switch. But I'm curious to see where this blue and yellow goes, where the ground is. So in here it says my light blue and orange goes to, follows it down to the PCM. Interesting. So why it's not getting ground, that's the mystery. Let's go ahead and give it some ground juice and see if our selector switch our selector switch here gets juice to the brown and white or the red. So because I don't have multiple test lights, I'm going to do this from the battery. Okay, and then I'm going to stick my ground into that blue and yellow. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little bit exposed here so I can hook up my test light to that, and I have enough room to go back into the cab and test it, the selector switch. I got ground in there. And as you can see, guys, I got power to the selector switch now, red wire. So at the end of the day, I didn't buy a new relay, which for these things there's like an arm and a leg for some reason because they're old. And it's just something's up with the ground. And it goes to the diagnostic here. Okay, so this might be our ground wire that I'm scrooble-jubing up somehow. And I did a delete for a lot of stuff in here, the smog stuff. So along the way, I messed up our ground. And let's look at the diagram here, see if we can figure this out. Okay. Okay, so these guys want to call it a light blue and an orange. And it looks like it goes to the data link dealio down to our powertrain, our computer basically, our EEC. So yeah, we're missing a ground. This bad boy here, something's going on here. So we know where that data link thing is. And then from there we're supposed to go to the PCM. And I don't have a connector for that. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'll do some work here, and I'm almost thinking I want to just jumper a wire here to a ground to here, but I'd like to do this the correct way. And our red is good, our yellow's good, our relay's good, our switch is now getting juice, our red wire to our pump, just like we wanted. So it's just this bad boy, or this bad boy. This bad boy, once energized, right here, whoosh, does that, turns on our red, and goes down into red, yellow, and out brown, red or brown, white. And that's what we tested. The red had juice. So we know our inertia switch is good. We know everything's good here except for this ground. And so that's the dealio, guys. the ground ski. So we'll track that back, and let's see if the VP data link connection has got a light blue or orange or blue and yellow on it. Light blue and orange. Light blue and orange, or this color here is, it looks like a tan. That does not look orange anymore. Okay, yeah, it is. It's light blue and orange. Yep, so light blue and orange. Where are you, little guy? Where are you? This one. Right here. Huh. Light blue and orange. I don't think this is going to be light blue and orange anymore. No. I wonder what would happen if I ran my jumper cable. I ran my jumper cable from my battery into this one. Alright, let's see what happens. So I might have just cracked the case here. Okay. So remember, this is our light blue and orange. And we can see it's coming up in here, right? Light blue and orange. We're going to put a ground to it. And we're going to listen for the fuel pump relay. Listen for it. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Ruled out. What do we rule out, guys, with this demonstration? Okay. We ruled out the selector switch. That's $100. We ruled out the inertia switch. That's buku bucks. We ruled out this, all these solenoids. We ruled out the relay. That's another 100-something bucks online. So that's $300 there. Okay, now we're not getting ground here to this bad boy. To, where was it? This. Look, we could go down here to the VP data link connector. Okay. So we're like, oh, why is that not getting good ground? Well, just to rule it out, we could be saying our heated oxygen sensor has got a ground, which grounds this whole computer out. So if the computer itself is not getting a good, awesome, sweet, awesome ground, then we could have a problem. So I would say, look at the heated oxygen sensor. I think I know where that is. Up top. And I'm not seeing any other grounds. So I did mess with this when I redid the intake manifold. So let's find out where that is. That is going to give us a good ground to the computer. And that may be what's happening here. We don't have a good ground to the computer because I can't see if we come back up here. You could just run a ground cable right to it, and just to see if it'll get your car to start, get some juice. And I might do that. just for awesomeness sake. It is a little bit of a doozy, but if you've got the Haynes, let's see what I got here. Oh, never mind, it's the Chilton Ford. 87 to 96, pickups and Bronco. This thing has saved my tail a few times, and I've got the full-on CD, but it's got this on there too with the full repair and everything. But it seems like this this usually does a trick, although sometimes, you know, like on this one it'll say red or brown and white. Well, obviously it's the red because we tested it. It's not the brown and the white for the front fuel pump. See the front, and this is the rear. It would be the brown and the white from the selector switch. So we know the red one is the front. That's what we're after. Okay, so attack the heated oxygen sensor, ground. See if that thing is grounded. If you're like me, you might have done a head gasket on your truck and taken a whole bunch of stuff off of the manifold and all that good stuff. So hopefully that helps you guys. I didn't see any videos on really troubleshooting the fuel pump system like like you'd like it to see. So this is to help me, and hopefully if anybody else has got one of these trucks and you've been doing some rebuilding, it's been sitting in the yard a while like mine. Yeah, go through this. But yeah, let's do this. So the plot thickens here. I apply ground to this one, and my fuel pump relay clicks on, but I don't get any juice at the selector switch at my green and yellow wire that we need at the fuel pump relay. So got a few debacles here. New plot twist. Let me show you guys what happens here. So I apply ground. So yeah, guys, that was my EGR. It connects right into here. I no longer have this, so that ground is not activated any longer. And that's probably why you need the little EGR delete thingy, because it will jump these wires when the car turns on, I'm guessing. And turn everything on. So this EGR does connect to things, and you will lose a ground if you don't either put a switch and put an active ground into this, or wire it in, or probably get that little EGR delete thing. I've never tried the EGR delete thing. I was gonna buy one, but yeah, so a lot of stuff pops on when key on, you pull a ground to this. So I don't think you can just plug this in. I don't think that's going to do anything for you as far as the old one goes. And then again, I have no idea. So for now, to try to get this thing running, I might just jumper a cable here, and a ground on like a switch of some kind, probably up from the chassis, and see if I can get the fuel pump to run, and maybe even try and start this bad boy, because everything else has got power, and it's my coil's got power down here. So my relays are good. Everything else is more or less got juice. My alternator's good, voltage regulator. But yeah, that Ford decided to make this thing crucial. I'm pretty sure it activates the distributor as well, so the key is off. And I'm getting nothing there at the red. And nothing at the blue. So that's good. All right. So, apprentice, turn the car to on. Do it.
All the way?
No.
Okay.
And we got power at the red. And we're jumpered all the way from a negative terminal. All right, you can shut it off. So the next step is to hook these up, hook it up to the pump, our new style connection. I'm just gonna use the house or homeowner type clips for temporary for testing purposes. Okay, so this is going to be the configuration here. And I'm going to hook these up using some of these for my test. Alright, time to get on with it now. Alright, I got all my connections buttoned up there. I got the harness connected. I got my fuel lines connected. I got everything connected. I've got fuel in the tank. I've got this thing plugged so no sand gets in there. So technically we should be getting fuel if I turn it on.